Hi all. Uh, Congratulations to all those who have successfully gone through the first step, completed the first step of clearing the prelims of TSPSC. Also, as many of you know, my name is Ratnakar. I teach polity. I handle polity in various institutes like our institute, RC Reddy, AKS, aspirants, and also other institutes. So we are planning to help you on how to tackle mains, and I will be tackling or I will be dealing with polity subject. So what are the important areas in polity that you must cover, because prelims preparation is different and mains preparation is a little bit different. So how to have enough experience, or how to have enough knowledge to tackle the mains paper. All of you know that you must answer 15 questions. Out of that, around 7 to 9 questions come from polity in your paper. So I will be dealing with the polity part. And in these 15 questions, you will get around 10-12 minutes for each question. But practically speaking, you will get only around 7 or 8 minutes, because you have to plan the question and you have to plan the answer and do that. So you actually get around 7 to 8 minutes per each question. That is why if you want to answer a question in 7 to 8 minutes, then you have to be very sure about that answer writing. So we'll help you regarding that, because most of you know what is polity and what are the areas about. But most of the students who prepare for the mains, they don't know how to prepare for the main examination, or how to write a Q&A in a main examination. So our primary focus would be on polity mains. And also for APPSC students, polity is the same for you. You can also follow this, because you can also get everything that is required for your polity. So one main aspect you have to remember here is in polity mains, the thing is that you need to study almost all the chapters, because you have section wise choice, or you have chapter wise choice here. So you must know little bit about each and every chapter. And having observed the style of the question papers, or the standard of the question papers of APPSC and TSPSC in the last few months, you must be, or you must have realized by this time, that question paper will be going to be very tough. So it will have to suit the current aspect or the dynamic aspect. So the connection should be there between the basic aspect as well as dynamic aspect. But the advantage in mains is you can expect many of the questions, or almost all the questions. So in today's class, what we'll be doing is, rather than focusing on how to write a question, because that information is available at various platforms, we'll be observing what kind of questions you may get in polity. And in the next class and other classes, I'll teach you how to write these questions, or what are the areas you have to focus on these questions. So we'll deal with what are the most likely questions which may be asked in the main examination. So we are also able to expect what are the likely questions that may come in prelims also. Many of you must have observed that, or many of you who had attended my classes must have known that how well you are able to tackle polity, even though in these difficult times. That means in the even though when the question paper is so difficult, you are able to answer polity because of the approach that we have followed. So taking a cue from that, we will also have a similar kind of approach here. So I'll now share a document with you on what type of questions you may get. So if you look at, all of you look at the document, if you look at section 1, so what kind of questions you may get from section 1? This is only a simple assumption, like we are taking some 3 to 4, 5 questions from each section. So in section 1, if you look at that part, so we have about Indian background of the Indian Constitution and also preamble in this chapter. So here, if you look at this, we can get questions like, what is the nature of Indian Constitution? What are the salient features of Indian federalism? Highlight the drawbacks of the existing federal structure and the extent which cooperative federalism can fill up the loopholes. So here you must be reading news about how the center and states are fighting and how states are blaming the center for not giving them enough powers. Center is not giving them enough powers, and more particularly why center is not giving them enough funds, and how center is trying to irk the states or trouble the state by using the office of the governor. So in this backdrop, there is every likelihood that you may get a question on Indian federalism. Then you may get a question on significance of the preamble, and you may get a question on the Constituent Assembly, how the Constituent Assembly faced a criticism from few quarters. Then what were the grounds for that, and describe the role of the drafting committee of the Constitution. So these kind of questions you may get from this chapter. And the second section is perhaps one of the most dynamic section. The same questions which you are getting in second section, you may also get the similar type of questions in your judiciary section, because it will be on the basis of various judicial judgments, like, does the freedom of speech and expression cover hate speech? Suggest measures to deal with the rising tendency of hate speech and hatred. This term hate speech, you may not have found it in many of the textbooks that you have read for your polity or you have read for your basic prelim preparation. But now the rising trend is about hate speech. So hate speech, if you observe last week also, the Supreme Court has cautioned the central government. Supreme Court wondered why arrests were not being made in a hate speech case, and how the government is dilly-dallying on this. Then it has cautioned the police regarding hate speech. So here in this caution came in this chapter because freedom of speech also include curbing hate speech. Curbing means stopping hate speech. So you have to write about what is hate speech, what are the measures that are already there in Article 19(2) of the Constitution to restrict hate speech, and how the Supreme Court has made observations. Supreme Court made observations last week. Supreme Court made observations last month also regarding hate speech. So you can write this in this particular case, Supreme Court judges so and so said this in these terms, and you write about Article 19(2) of the Constitution. Then this question is over. Like that you have to deal with this case. This is completely a dynamic case where you can cite examples, where you can cite court cases, where you can cite articles also, and where you can also quote the opinion of a judge. Last week the Chief Justice of India also had lent his opinion on this. So that also you can cover in this particular part. Then next question. This is also another dynamic question. In a country where the Constitution has given top priority to free speech, law on sedition has been considered as archaic, colonial, to suppress the dissent and violate fundamental rights. That means people are being arrested. People are being arrested on the basis of their right of exercising freedom of speech and expression. So law and sedition is being uh, law and sedition is being used to curb dissent or to curb criticism against the government. If anybody is criticizing the government is applying the law on sedition and the government is punishing those people. So you can start this question with the quotation of the present Chief Justice of India, who said that dissent is the safety valve of democracy. So you can also cite here, this was one of the biggest developments in judiciary last year. The Supreme Court has in fact suspended the use of 124A. 124A is the law regarding sedition. Supreme Court, how it suspended the use of this law and how the government is prevented from using this law. So that we have to deal in this question. Third question is a basic question about the nature of fundamental rights. So this question may not be asked in the examination, but you also need to not ignore the basic questions also. Then fourth one is balance between fundamental rights and parliamentary privileges. So this has always been a debate. So suddenly the examiner may spring a surprise by not asking any of the questions on Sedition Act, on hate speech or on secularism, but suddenly they may ask this kind of a question, because this also has been in debate for the last 50-60 years. It was being largely debated. So you must also not forget these kind of questions also. Then fifth question is regarding uniform civil code. Should it be implemented in the country? Uniform civil code is regularly in use. So you may get an essay question also regarding uniform civil code also. So you must describe here what is uniform civil code. So uniform civil code, where it is given in the Constitution, Article 44, in Directive Principles of State Policy. Then you have to answer. You have to start you can start your answer by another quote of Justice R.M. Sahai, who said that freedom of religion does not mean curbing the or exploiting people like women. So you have to start with that. Then you have to write examples of the Shabano case, the John Wallottam case, the Sarla Mudgal case. These cases you must write. Then also a triple talaq case. Then after that you have to also mention the efforts being made by governments in Gujarat, Uttarakhand and all these states where uniform civil code, and also recently, last week only, recently means what Supreme Court said, that states can also make their own laws regarding uniform civil code. So these things can be discussed in this particular question, because this is as far as I know, an examiner will find it very, very difficult not to give a question on uniform civil code. He has to either touch this topic in essay or in polity. So if he is not doing it, then the only intention should be to spring a surprise. Then next, third part, it is about the president. Then in the president and parliament. So in this, you may not get many questions regarding president, but you may get questions regarding parliament. So president, if they ask you, they may ask you about emergency powers of the president, normal basic question. In the recent past, there were not many incidents of emergency. The last time we got national emergency was in 1975, and president's rule at the states was a couple of years back. But otherwise, this is not a topic which is there in news. But you may get a question on this. Then you will get a question on office of profit, why there is frequently a debate on office of profit. This is always an important question, office of profit. If you have observed your old question papers also, this type of questions are mentioned there. Then in the light of bifurcation of Jammu and Kashmir, and also in the light of the recent developments in Assam, where there is a delimitation exercise going to be taken up. They may ask a question regarding what is delimitation. What is delimitation commission? Because already the exercise got completed in Jammu and Kashmir. It may start very soon in Assam as well. So they may ask a question regarding this. Then next one is decline of parliament. This question is very, very important. Decline of parliament. Why there is a decline of parliament, and what is the job of the parliament? Parliament job is to discuss, deliberate, and also parliament's major job is to make laws and to control the government, or to exercise control on the government. So parliament main job is to make laws after healthy discussion. Is it happening? No, it is not happening. Controlling the government, is it happening? No, it is not happening properly. Why? What should be done to control this aspect of decline of parliament? So that this type of question may be asked in this chapter. Then you may also get questions on anti-defection law. What is anti-defection law? Why anti-defection law is is always in use? So is anti-defection law being living up to its expectation? That is one question. So there, the basic question you may write about anti-defection law, that it has come under section 52 of the 52nd amendment, then 10th schedule. So anti-defection law, that is a basic question. You may also be asked, is anti-defection law affecting, or will anti-defection law affect the parliamentary practice? Parliamentary practice means, like in anti-defection law, you must only the party line. So is it right or wrong that you are asked to only to the party line? That you may get a question there. Then you may get a question how anti-defection law or the spirit of anti-defection law is being affected. Spirit of anti-defection law means like how anti-defection law is being subverted. Now what parties are doing? Parties are making powerful parties like the ruling party. They are making MLAs resign and bringing down the fall of the government and going for another election. So is that right or wrong? That also they may ask you regarding anti-defection law. So they may ask you questions regarding joint sitting of parliament and parliamentary control and all those things in this particular chapter as well. Like in the light of the recent examples of defection by elected representatives, discuss the anti-defection law and the new phenomenon that is affecting the spirit of this law. They may ask also question regarding write a note on Rajya Sabha and critically examine its necessity for the country. Then they may ask a question regarding amendment procedure of the Indian Constitution. So these type of questions are asked from this chapter. Then section 4. They may ask you about contempt of court also, because Supreme Court is facing criticism regarding contempt of court. And the best question or the most important question that may come to your mind in this section is about judicial appointment. So there is a lot of controversy going on. Almost regularly you find some minister or some MP or some politician or even the Lok Sabha speaker, Rajya Sabha chairman criticizing the way appointments are being done in higher judiciary. So they may ask you about that. Is the tussle between the government or the executive and judiciary? Examine the tussle between government and the judiciary regarding the appointment of judges and suggest a way forward. So if you observe, earlier it is only the government who used to appoint the judges whomever they want until 1993. After 1993, it is the judges, that is the Supreme Court Collegium, which is appointing the judges of Supreme Court and High Court from 1993. Then there was a controversy because in 2014 the government passed a bill. The government passed that bill with 99% majority in the parliament, known as National Judicial Appointment Commission Bill. Government passed the bill and government said that there will be a National Judicial Appointment Commission to appoint the judges. Supreme Court struck down that act and said no, that is against the independence of judiciary. So we are striking it down and we will appoint the judges. Supreme Court has taken it back again. Government's efforts were scuttled. So government was angry. So then Supreme Court said we will come up with a memorandum of procedure, and they tried to appoint, they are appointing the judges in the same manner, but regular criticism, regular discussion is happening on judicial appointment. So we may get a question on this. Most probably, like I told you about what is that? About Uniform Civil Code. Most probably you may get a question on judicial appointment. 100% I think you will get a question on judicial appointment, either in essay or in polity part. Then next question about the role of the judiciary. Judiciary acted as a reformer, activist, guardian of rights, and this question they will ask you. Judicial review they will ask you. Then they will ask you about public interest litigation. Then they may ask you about basic structure theory. Always it is important. Basic structure theory is always it is very important. But now it is very important. Why I am stressing that it is very important? Because the Vice President of India, he said that basic structure theory's judgment is wrong. Perhaps in my memory, I never found such a high person saying that basic structure doctrine or basic structure judgment is wrong. Nobody said it. First person in my memory was or is our present Vice President. So in the light of that, they will definitely give a question regarding basic structure theory. So 2 questions are over from this chapter. 99% these 2 questions will come. Either appointment of judges or basic structure theory, or both may come from this section. So then the last chapter, the last section. The last section is regarding center-state relations and as well as Panchayati Raj system, local self-government. So you may get a question in this chapter like, with due importance to the federal principles, the Indian Constitution allocated subjects between the center and states with the 3 lists in the 7th schedule. What are the challenges regarding the division of the subjects? So this question you may get from this chapter. So then you may get questions like the role of the governor. What is the role of the governor? Governor's role has become very controversial. The center is once again troubling the states. This is not the first time that center is troubling the states. The Congress party, which ruled the country for majority of years, troubled the states whenever there is a non-Congress government. And this government also is resorting to similar practices sometimes in a more crudest manner. Like in the last few days, you must have observed how the Tamil Nadu governor is acting, and how Tamil Nadu governor is not speaking the same speech which was prepared by the government. It is a convention that governor or president should read the speech which is prepared by the government. So Tamil Nadu governor has declined to follow that practice. Then in some states like West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, even in Telangana, even in Kerala, they are trying to remove the governor as chancellor of universities. And how Kerala governor acted in a controversial manner when he asked the chief minister to sack a minister. Governor has no right to ask that, but governor asked that. And that instance, how Telangana governor is delaying the signing of bills. So all these questions put together, they may ask you about the role of the governor. They may ask a question regarding the fiscal relations between center and states, the financial relation between center and states. You must have observed how the state governments are alleging, or how the state governments are claiming that center is subverting the federal principle by not releasing the funds in time, and how state governments are forced to pay more for the central government schemes. So all these questions may be asked. They may ask you about the Panchayat Raj system. Is the Panchayat Raj system like a half-baked cake, or is the Panchayat Raj system not being implemented properly, or the fruits of the Panchayat Raj system are not as per the, like for example 93 we got Panchayat Raj system, and now how many years have passed by? 30 years have passed by. In the last 30 years, how the Panchayat Raj system lived up to its billing, or had it realized its goals? Like that, these kind of questions are asked. So if you observe, we have discussed somewhere about 30 questions now. So if you prepare around 50 questions, you will surely be able to answer all the 7 to 9 questions which you will get from polity in your paper. So this is how you must prepare. It is meaningless to read each and everything. Your preparation must be focused. Your preparation must be aligning with the current aspects, so that you won't miss even a single question in your mains paper. And in this also, I'll give the notes also for you, where the size of the answer would be around 300 to 500 words, but you have to write only 200 words only. And how point wise you have to write, point 1, point 2, side headings, how you have to use the side headings, how to understand the start words or important words in a question, keywords in a question. What do you mean by examine? What do you mean by discuss? What do you mean by elaborate? So all these things we'll discuss in the classes, which we are going to start in a day or two. So there we'll clearly discuss how you have to approach a particular question, and how you have to approach a particular chapter, and what are the points you have to write in a particular question, so that by reading the notes your preparation will be over. So in our classes, which will be having around 50 hours, you have ample time, around another 4-5 months time is there, 4.5 months time is there for you for your mains preparation. So this is the time for you to read, write, practice, and also target the right kind of questions. So follow our classes so that it will be helpful for you. Our aim is to help garner as many marks as possible in the exam. Right? So look forward to our videos. Very soon we'll be uploading a few more of them. So look forward, and all the best for your exams.